those who have moved here would have to have non-voting shares, because it makes absolutely no sense to allow someone to come to Canada and then vote on whether or not there's a merger between Canada and potentially the country that they came from. You would destroy your own country in very short order that way. And from what I've looked into, that's what it is. It's a function of not the value of the stock, that's identical, because your value as a human being is identical, but whether or not you can vote on mergers and unions.
But what documents would you use? Like, if it's not returned as a birth certificate?
Yeah, I would use your card that establishes you as a permanent resident, I believe they call it now. And a notice of understanding and intent and a claim of right. Because you are an individual, and the Bill of Rights says every individual has the right to life, liberty, and the security of the person. So unless your ability unless your right to life is less than mine, your right to the security of the person must be just as great.
Do you have any insight on why the crown disappeared off the Queen on the money? Does that have anything to do with that thing you were talking about, them going to...
Bad artistry, because I was shown that previously that had happened as well. I thought it meant something as well, and I looked into it, and apparently it has very little bearing, if any. And regardless of whether or not it does, it might, but it certainly doesn't have anything to do with you serving and collecting your security and being a free man. So I don't know. I know she's my sister. I got my crown.
Will you be posting all of this information on the internet when you do finish?
No, but I'll try to sell you guys some packages.
No, when you finish this process that you're going to be going through.
No, I'm teasing you. We are making it online. It's available if you go to thinkfree.ca, go to the forum, and on the forum under the thread documents being served, look for Robert Christie's, and that's the one that we're collaborating on, that we're serving to secure security and the right to travel, because we're serving it on all of the de facto governments in the Commonwealth. So we're claiming the right to travel within the Commonwealth as freely as the Queen does. We'll pay our own way, but we get to cross your border and you can't stop us.
That's cool.
It's a pretty powerful document, dude. We've been putting some energy into it. Okay, so come back in half an hour?
Yeah, let's take a break.
Okay, did we have a nice break? Yeah. Who had some chicken wings? I saw some tasty chicken wings. Court is now in session. I don't know that I had much more to share with you guys. I really have my whole show set up and my voice ain't working. But if you guys have questions, if there's anything I can help you guys with, fire away, I guess. Try to speak up so everyone else can hear you. Or actually come up here, talk into the mic. Let's share this. Come on, share the juice. That'll hold down the frivolous questions.
What I wanted to ask, in the case of credit card companies, when they get to a certain point, they're going to send a statement of claim against you. What can you do to prevent the actual statement of claim going against you? Okay, thanks. Yeah.
So you're concerned about them making a statement of claim, but where is that statement of claim going to be filed? It's going to be filed in one of the courts. They're going to go to court and seek action against you, and they're going to try to get an order of the court demanding that you perform or meet some form of obligation. If before you get there, you establish lawful excuse to disobey that court so that the order has no effect on you anyways, that judge is not going to want to see them at all. You only go there once or twice, if that. They live there. They need these courts on their side. What you do is you establish lawful excuse to disobey the court before they ever even file the statement of claim. And you do that by serving a claim of right on them. The credit card company that's demanding payment or performance. That's what I would suggest. Expand the conflict so that you see where they're going, what they're intending to do, and pull the rug out from under them. Sorry?
You use credit out of necessity for your
I don't know about that. I don't see any necessity there. And all you're doing is, the claim of right that I would put is essentially show me where you lost anything. When was the money generated? Show me your loss. If you can't do that, you have no right. Because I don't want to, teach people or show people that there's a path how they can dishonor actual obligations. If you bought a big screen TV, I mean, that's not a necessity. And you should be paying for that personally in my book, one way or another. But I think you should be paying for it by seizing your security and saying, okay, I'm going to spend some of my money on that.
You talked about parking tickets and speeding tickets being bills of exchange. Where would I go to confirm that?
They're not a bill of exchange, but they are operating under the Bill of Exchange Act, and they are bound by it. It's a notice, and what you're trying to do is say, okay, you've given me the notice, now give me the bill. If someone says to you, you owe them money, and then you say, okay, I will accept that if you show me a bill, and they can't show you a bill, you don't owe them money.
So if I look at the Bill of Exchange Act and I read the definition, just pay, drive.
It's an unconditional order in writing addressed by one person to another, signed by the person giving it, requiring the person to whom it is addressed to pay upon demand or a fixed and determinable time of some certain in money to the bearer, a third party. Well, you guys can't do that? Spark up, boys. That works in court, man, I tell you. Oh, shit.
So if I take that definition and anything that fits that definition would fall under that definition, whether it's court order, court judgment, parking tickets, all of that.
Yes.
Because when I look at this, it fits it, but will they define it as that?
You don't worry about whether or not they will define it.
Okay.
You define it and let them dispute it. If they don't, they accept. We have been fully conditioned into thinking that, okay, how do I get them to allow me to do this? How do I get them to agree? You don't allow them to allow you. You say, how can they disallow me? How can they disprove my claim? Don't seek permission from these people. Don't make complaints. Make a claim. A complaint can be dismissed. A claim cannot. And look at the definition and just weigh it and say, these are the attributes of a bill of exchange. Do they exist here? And if you look, they're right there.
I have read the Bill of Exchange Act.
Have you?
Yeah.
So few have, man, I'll tell you. Bill of what act?
The question came up during the break. How does a young person get around an employer's demand to have a SIN number?
Instead of operating, we realize what's happening. You're going to this employer and you're saying, I'm going to work for you, but I'm doing it as an agent of the government. It's kind of like one of those temporary employment agencies where you go during the day, they set you up with a job, but because they set you up with that job, they're actually, the people who hire you aren't hiring you, they're hiring an agent from this company. Therefore, you owe money to that company for that day. That's called a contract for service, where they are contracting with you or with your employer for your services. That's what the SIN card is. You have an opportunity and a right to operate under a contract for hire where there is no one, you're not anyone's employer or employee, and you're not allowing this employer to provide services to the third party through you. It's just you contracting mano a mano. And that's how we do it. It's a contract for hire. It's a two-party contract. Right, there is one question over there.
Could you expand on the role of notaries in this process and what they do, how you find them, and how you encourage them to actually help you in this?
Yes, I could. Any other questions? You need to ask proper questions. A notary public, what I found in British Columbia, the notary public under Section 18 of the Notary Act, and you will find this in a whole bunch of different acts. You would have to search for it in Ontario. I'm not sure it's here, but I found it in Florida, California, a whole whack of different states and a couple of provinces as well. It states in BC that a notary public may perform any of the duties found under any statute. They have as much power as any cop, any judge, anyone. If you wanted to sue the Law Society, the courts, and the government all at the same time, where would you go? You can't go sue the courts and the courts, you can't go sue the government and the government, but the notary public has that power. They are the perfect witness. They are the one, because the law is about facts and the application of the law to those facts.